This is Yoel Molina. Thank you for being with me again today. And today I want to speak to you about a couple things that every business owner and entrepreneur, should be aware of. And that involves the area of cybercrime and cyber criminal and cyber criminal activities. And it's timely now for me to do this because I almost became a victim of a cybercrime myself recently, and I figured it'd be a good time. I'll tell you a little bit about my experience before at the end of this video. But what you need to understand is that as entrepreneurs and business owners, we're always working on getting watching the bottom line, increasing profits, increasing margins, reducing costs. But a place that's often overlooked is the need to make sure that you limit your liability. Obviously, having proper insurance, proper business structure is something that we always think about, but just simple policies and procedures to make sure that you don't even have to get to your insurance or rely on structures and rely on agreements that you may have, rely on employee handbooks. Making sure you have the proper procedures and policies ahead of time can assist you in making sure that you're not a victim of cybercrime. And cybercrime can hit anybody. It can hit any company of any size. It doesn't matter if you're a one-person operation or if you're a multinational conglomerate. It can hit anybody. You hear about it all the time, how these multinational companies get hit with it. But sometimes you don't hear about the smaller companies. I've seen companies of 10, 12, 5, 3 people get their system hijacked and held for ransomware, where the cyber criminals refuse to give back their access to their internal system as they pay money. But particularly, I want to talk about something that is a little bit more common, I believe, a little bit more possible to happen to day-to-day business, and that's email hacking. Cyber criminals that come at you trying to get access to your email to commit crimes. These are individuals. A common scenario, if you will, these individuals come in, they look at your they find access to your email account, and they start looking for ways to violate you, violate your partners, violate your employees, and even violate your clients. Something that can be deadly to your reputation, deadly to how you do business, and and really hurt your business relationship with your clients and partners. And there's several tips that you can implement and procedures you can implement to avoid this. And I'll get to that in a second, but I want to give you first an example of what happened to a couple of clients of mine, which happened within the past couple of years. And it's very, very concerning because it's so simple. Because email, obviously, email, text, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, DMs on Instagram, Twitter, they're all so easy and convenient. They're right there in your phone. You're stopping at a red light. You're in between meals. You're waiting for an Uber, and you get back to somebody. Yeah, let's do this, let's do that, and then even sending money with Zelle, PayPal, and other similar apps, and even bank apps that make sending money so easily. But one of our clients, and two different clients, but had similar scenario. Someone had hacked their email, got into their email, monitored their activity, was paying attention to what they were doing when they emailed, when they didn't email, and then suddenly they striked, and they went in there and they robbed my client. And they robbed my client because what they did is they got access to passwords, they got access to email accounts. But more particularly, and more specifically, what happened is that when in one of these scenarios, they ended up impersonating my client, sent an email to one of their business partners that owed them some money, and the business partner was instructed to send the money that was owed to a new bank account. They gave him new bank details. The person, everything seemed legit. The email was familiar. They sent it over to a new bank account, and no one was none the wiser till about 2 or 3 months later. And it actually happened a couple times in that scenario because no one's really paying attention and no one's really calling and verifying. They say, oh, the email looks familiar. Oh yeah, that's Bill. Okay, perfect. I'll send it to the bank account. Maybe he had some issue with his old bank, and then he sent the money. In one of the scenarios, the person sent the money inexplicably to me, twice was scammed in this fashion twice in 1 year. Very, very common fraud. You think the person would learn the first time, but unfortunately did not. So what ends up happening in this scenario that they basically hack your email. They go in there, sit and wait, prey on you like think about those nature movies of those tigers and panthers laying in wait for when they can pounce, and they wait till they can pounce when no one is none the wiser, and they go in there and they victimize you. They steal bank details, full clients, full customers, but there should be policies in place to avoid this. And a lot of policies that you can implement are very straightforward and very simple. Number one, if you have a dormant email accounts that are no longer being used because you downsize or that account is not currently being used, you find a replacement, make sure they're totally shut off. Make sure they have a very complicated password if you can't totally deactivate it, but take affirmative steps to make sure that nothing there that can be accessed. Apart from that, make sure that any incoming emails is being forwarded to someone in the office reliable that's going to check and make sure that there's no issues. Apart from that, if you ever have a service like QuickBooks, and then the QuickBooks is relevant because that's how I almost got scammed, and I'll go into that in a moment, make sure that QuickBook account or PayPal or whatever it may be that you're no longer using, but one time adding your information or one time even sent emails on your behalf, make sure your information is removed, totally shut down. Make sure that they cannot send emails on your behalf in any way. Criminals are accessing legitimate platforms like QuickBooks or making it seem like they're accessing them, and they are using that as a way to commit fraud, cyber crimes against legitimate business owners. You can imagine this day and age when you're trying to work on being the best business you can, now having this headache to deal with. But if you take some simple steps, you can avoid it. Another step to avoid this, if you get banking details by email, you call and confirm as correct. Make sure it's coming from the right person. Make sure it's coming from someone that the person picks up. Don't send the money until you get verbal confirmation. Write it down, jot it down. Yeah, I spoke to Bob today and he told me, yeah, that's legit. Make sure you speak to the person that you're supposed to speak to, but also be careful because some of these individuals are setting up fake telephone numbers. I'll get into that also as well in a little bit, but make sure you speak to the person that you need to speak to and confirm it. And the issue is that liability can be on both sides. So you have to have these policies in place. The courts, they look at these matters, have currently said where there's a person who got hacked or the person who received an email from the hacked account, either one of them in any case can be liable. So it's very important. It's very fact specific. So you can't say in point, well, you should have better anti-hacking policies in your office. You can't say that because they may respond, well, why would you send money without confirming that those banking details came from me? So you have to, the courts look at every scenario in every case, and it's never black and white. So you have to make sure that you have policies in place to avoid even getting there, because if you're involved in a situation, it's not as simple as pointing to the other side. You both could be liable in this case. Always double check the email. One situation or one tactic that scammers may use. Let's say you're accustomed to using an email from somebody at acme.com. The hacker may change it to acme.co, .net, whatever it may be, and everything looks legitimate to you, and they send you the information. So this time they didn't hack; they impersonated by getting a similar domain, and then you get it. It looks legit. Signature line even looks the same. They may have even hacked in and got a look of the email, how it's supposed to look. And then now they ask you for money. You send it. And again, you're a victim. All right. And in this case, is basically somebody just sent an email from an account that looks familiar. So in this case, it may just be all on the fault of the person who sent the money, but who knows? But these are things that you can take. Steps you can take to make sure that you don't end up in this situation, because the hackers are very, very creative. They're very, very knowledgeable. They're like masters of their craft, always trying to get better at what they're doing. They almost got me, and how they almost got me, they sent me an email, which I went online later on and realized is a very common tactic. The email said, it had a very legitimate looking sales receipt. number. It came from a QuickBooks um, looking email. They must have hacked somebody, or they have some type of software out there to spoof emails to make it look like it's coming from QuickBooks. And then it says your transaction is complete, 7:35. We will repeat it again in about 30 days. Thank you for your business. If, however, you want to stop this transaction, very odd to begin with, let it call this number. We can cancel it. Again, very odd. Apart from that, it said it was a transaction for Bitcoin. I'm not a Bitcoin trader at this moment. So again, everything was odd. I immediately picked up the telephone. Some people said that you shouldn't do that, but I did. Called them. Some experts should say you shouldn't do that. Called them, and I immediately understood, could tell the person wasn't a native English speaker. The person wasn't in the U.S., and the person was very aggressive and was very insistent that I go to my web browser and start typing in an email address. Again, I learned that tactic right there of getting me as quickly as possible to my browser. He didn't really verify any detail. He just, oh, there's a sale receipt. I think I even mispronounced some of I gave him the wrong invoice number. I don't think he even noticed. He just wanted me to get to my browser. And why does he want me to get to my browser? Because once he gets to that browser, and I get to the browser and I install what he did me to, he can then have access to my internal system and hack me, and then he could possibly even install ransomware, vigilance surveillance device. Don't fall for the stuff. The minute he started having me type stuff up, I'm like, this guy is not legit. I hung up, stopped talking to him, went again to PayPal, verified that I did not order nothing from PayPal. Again, another weird thing. It was like, came from QuickBooks, but call PayPal if you have an issue. If you pay attention, sometimes these things even tell on themselves if you pay attention. I hung up, went online, went to a bunch of forums, and realized that this was all fraudulent. All right. So I share this with you because this can lead to legal liability on your part. You can take steps. Oftentimes, if you do got to go to court and the court say it's fact specific, they're going to look at what policies you have in place in your company to make sure these type of things don't happen. There's some features that you get for free. I know I get them with Google, business accounts. I'm assuming other platforms like Microsoft and Yahoo have similar things. They send you alerts if people are accessing your email. There's a feature in Google where you can go on and see who's logged into your email and where they're located. You can go on there routinely and see if your email is being accessed from a place you've never been to and no one on your team is. You can ask your team to do the same. You have to be very cautious. You have to be very diligent, and you have to be on top of these things to make sure that you don't become a victim. So I'll leave you with this. If you're in need of maybe some guidance, some tips, there's plenty of free information on the web. You can contact your email provider. They'll give you a lot of free tips. There's plenty of apps you can get as well if you feel like you need more because of the nature of your business. A lot of them are low cost or even free. But if I can be of help anyway in any fashion from a legal perspective, feel free to give me a call. But I think the first initial step is go out there, be proactive with your policies and apps, and make sure you protect yourself. Again, I'm Yoel Molina. I hope I can help you. Take care.